done a cleanse before? You have? Okay. So the reason why cleansing is a good thing, and why we're going to talk about it, and how to get started. I do a much softer approach when I do large presentations for people to get started and get introduced to it. But we can fine tune it, and you can take from it what you want. If you want to do it more hardcore, I can guide you. And we do personal coaching as well if somebody wants one-on-one coaching. So my thing is a three-pronged approach to get healthy is the idea. It's not just to hardcore get into it and do a fast and then it's over in a week or 2 weeks, whatever you choose. But I think that it's a three-pronged approach as far as getting the yucky stuff out, putting lots and lots of good stuff in, and learning new habits so that you can move forward. Because it's not really beneficial just to do it 1 week a year, every single year, just keep repeating. You got to learn how to live the lifestyle so that you can get into the prevention mode, because that's really the best way to live. So the body can heal itself when you restore balance from the nutrition that you give it. So the purpose of eating is to actually nourish the body. If anybody's ever looked up the definition, it's about nourishment. It is not about consuming edible items, which is what our food manufacturing process has become, to be. And it's all about manufacturing and selling products and things. So when we consume a lot of just items that are edible, ongoing, we're taxing the liver, and that's the body's biggest defense mechanism. It's over 50 metabolic functions that the liver actually does on a daily basis. But it is the largest organ, and it is possible to restore balance to it. So we have to be kind to the liver, and that's part of the digestive system. So many of you probably know my product line is Wildly Fermented, and it's all about digestive wellness. So that's how we're kind of tying this in together, is to get people to not only cleanse and detox for a short period of time, but then know how to go forward in a direction of shopping at the farmer's market, getting local quality, high energy food products that can become their grocery store. Because most of the stuff in the grocery stores, in those aisles, it's dead food. And that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit next, is food labels. Because we've all seen the healthy or natural on the boxes and the bags, but it's still dead food. And what we want to get to is understanding the different levels. So junk food, everybody knows. It's void of all nutrients, and it's heavily processed, but it's also harmful. And that's what I want to get people to understand, is the difference in these different categories, because you can have harmful things, and then you can go up a little notch, and you can have some better ingredients, but they're still cooked or processed in a way that is not really beneficial to you. And then you have nourishment, and that's where we want to get to, is nourishment, because that's where you get your energy, it's your life force. So shopping at the farmer's market is nourishment. Unless you take the broccoli home and you deep fry it in something disgusting, right? And that's what we don't want to do. So we want to learn how to prepare it in a way that it's live, so that you get energy, and your body turns that into everything it needs to do for you in a day. So it's a balance, on a day-to-day basis. But for today, what we're going to talk about is nourishment. So I'm going to give you a few examples to get you thinking when you go to the grocery, or when you come here and you're preparing meals of different categories. So you can have like grains, okay? You can have wheat. We probably all heard about, the dangers of gluten and wheat intolerance and all that kind of stuff. You can have you can have quinoa as a much better choice. How is it processed? Is it pasteurized? Because then it's dead. So we have farmers here that it's live and it's good for you. I don't typically include that on a cleanse per se, but when you're eating on a regular basis, you just want to get the best quality, that you can of everything. So the next one is sugar. Okay, everybody thinks like, oh God, sugar, I got to stay away from it, or I'm going to feel guilty, or it's so bad for me, or whatever. Actually, every cell in your body functions on sugar, but you just have to know what it came from and the quality. So an example of that would be, are we talking bananas? Are we talking raw live honey, like we have from the farmer over here? Or are we talking white refined sugar? Again, it's harmful, and you want to stay away from it at all costs. So if you want something sweet, you can go over to our booth and you can see cookies that are actually good for you. We call them cookies because they look like cookies and people want treats, but they're made with nut pulp and they're made with fermented coconut nectar, which is the sap from the coconut tree, so it's all live. Okay, so that's healthy. We also have a chocolate pudding. If none of you, we've had that for quite a while, so some of you might have tried that before, but it's made with dates. So again, from the earth in its wholeness, it's not harmful. If you have a sugar imbalance, of course, you might want to, cut back on that category or stay away from it. Then the next category is GMOs. Harmful, avoid at all costs. And people do not realize they are in 70% of anything in a box or a bag. So again, shopping at a farmer's market where things are natural and in their full form is always going to be your best bet. So when doing a cleanse, I suggest people starting on Mondays. That way you can prepare over the weekend and get all your stuff together, because the biggest challenge is usually for people, it's something new and it's a change in your regimen and it takes a lot more time, but you can make it simple. So I'm going to go through like an outline of a typical cleanse that I take people through and guide them, and then we got some samples for you to try, and we're going to explain to you like what's in it and why those are better choices, and then you can ask tons of questions, and then we have lots of different stuff over at the booth too if you want to do that. So like I said, I do a much softer approach. If somebody wants to do a juice fast, for example, and they just want to start today and do it, I can guide you through it, but that's not really what I'm going to encourage everybody to do, because I think people stick with it better. So on day one, warm lemon water with cayenne. Okay, the reason that is so essential is it jumpstarts your digestive system. Totally simple, easy. You get up, everybody can boil water, you just have to have lemons on hand and a little sprinkle of cayenne. I don't know. Okay, so the next thing, in that morning after you do the warm lemon and cayenne to kind of wake up, is Himalayan salt. And there's a very old recipe. It's known as Chele, S-O-L-E. So Pep Salt Company over there has the Himalayan salt crystals that you can go ask her lots of questions about the salt. If that's so Chele is basically Himalayan salt that has dissolved in good quality water to a perfect pH. You take a teaspoon out and you put it in water and you drink it. The idea is the 84 minerals that are in Himalayan salt, and that is what these crystals are right here, helps to restore alkalinity to your system, okay? So the book is called Water and Salt, if anybody wants to check it out. So that's the second thing that I get people to do like every single morning. And I did make some copies of this if somebody wants to take it home with them. And then I just want to insert this. If you're a hardcore coffee drinker, for example, and you're just freaking out about how am I going to do a cleanse because I can't give up my coffee, I encourage people to switch to yerba mate, for example, just for that first morning. Everything is about gradual, because I don't want anybody to give up, okay? So wherever you are, it's like, I'm with you, okay? We just take a baby step. So the first nutrition item of the morning is turmeric shots. Turmeric is very anti-inflammatory, which anybody that has the desire to cleanse feel like they need to cleanse. Inflammation is a good thing to recognize and understand that you get that down, you're going to have more energy. You're going to feel better. So we make turmeric shots. They're in these little 4-ounce bottles. However, it's pretty simple if you want to do it yourself. We ferment the turmeric, so we take it to a little bit higher level. Just again for the bacteria purposes to work on your gut. So, but it's basically Brazilian nut milk, which is very high in selenium, and that's why we use that. And then it's got the turmeric in it and the fermented kefir water. So that's a nutritional item. So then if you feel like you're starting to get hungry, so what we're trying to do on the first day is just gradually get you into healthier choices. You're filling your system with nutrition, and you're not going to get hungry. So everybody that thinks like, oh my God, I can't do a cleanse because I'm going to starve to death. No, not if I'm guiding you, okay? Actually, you probably have more nourishment than your normal days, so therefore you won't get to that point of feeling hungry, because that's why you get those cravings and things, because you don't have nourishment. It's not about not consuming food. So the next thing I have on the list is spirulina smoothies. We do a lot with spirulina because it was actually the first bacteria on this planet, and it's a really good thing. It's high in amino acids. It's got more vitamin A than tons and tons of carrots that you could eat. It's just a really, really good thing for you. You don't get hungry when you eat it. It's a full nourishment. So when I say smoothie, just so to be clear, juicing and smoothies are different. Smoothies have fiber in them, okay, and they're made in a blender. So they're a mixture of all the good vegetables that you're putting in there. It could be kale, it could be celery, it could be, and I actually, on a cleanse specifically, the base is water. It's not milk, okay? To try to guide you into lighter, eating, and not so much for your system to break down, because the purpose is to give your digestive system a break. Okay. So the next thing is an entree salad. Okay. I don't know if anybody was here the last time I did a demo, but it was on entree salads, because a lot of people don't think of a salad as being filling enough that they can have it as a meal. But we did an example of an entree salad, and this is super easy. Okay. This is kale, which we got from Black Sheep Farms over here, and the salad dressing is our zucchini dip. Now, the zucchini dip, people taste it and they think it's hummus. It does not have garbanzo beans. Nothing wrong with garbanzo beans. Everybody says, well, they're high in protein. They're high in protein if you soak and sprout them. And again, everything is about how you process it. When it comes from the earth, garbanzo beans are dormant, so you have to enliven them so that you can get all those nutrients. However, how many people do you know say, oh, I really like hummus, but it bothers me, I can't eat it? Same thing with garlic. When you ferment, it's a totally different thing. Okay, so we don't use garbanzo beans in our dip. It's zucchini. So everything in there is about digestion. So the garlic has been aged for a month. I think we have. They're in these little jars that we do the garlic. You can eat these just like candy. Lemon and basil in our garlic product. But the zucchini dip has the garlic in it that has been aged for a month. So that's the salad dressing. And then we have sprouts from Frederick over here. If you haven't ever stopped at Frederick's booth, oh my gosh, the best quality sprouts ever. And my favorite is sunflower. And that's it. So that is a meal that took a matter of a few minutes just by having the right ingredients. And Jackie has some samples back here she'll pass around. And the thing is, as you'll see on the menu outline, is entree salad with fermented foods. The key always is, with every meal, to have a little something fermented so that you're digesting it. Because again, this is day one, and you want to jumpstart your digestive system so that you can absorb all these great nutrients, okay? So that's why we have the little side of rye kraut. What we try to do is give people meal ideas that they can pair the different products with that complement them. So, Jackie, maybe Brandon will help you. Do you got enough space? So we have both samples of the rye kraut, which is our very first original product. When we started here at the Orange Market over there by Grampy Pat 4+ years ago, we started with rye kraut, and then the demand was there, and so my creativity kicked in, and we have, like, I don't even know, over 30, 40 products now. So that's the entree salad. So we're up to about midday now with your food for the day, and then the light cooked dinner that's next, and then I've got soup and again fermented foods in parentheses. The fermented carrots is a great example of something that you could make a soup out of quickly. I have blended this in the Vitamix before. You can add coconut water to it if you want. You could just blend it the way it is. There's all kinds of spices in here, and these are not hot, spicy carrots. These are warm, spicy carrots. So it's like a Moroccan. It's a very comforting, warm soup you can blend. And then again, it would be great for your digestive system because it's fully fermented. And then for the evening, one thing that I've always done for people before you retire is coconut water. Your body is restoring while it's resting at night, and coconut water is so perfect for that. So we've got spirulina shots at the bottom there. This is coconut milk, meaning it has the pulp and the water in it with spirulina. So this is a product that we just started recently making. You can, however, just go get yourself a coconut, crack it, and drink the water, and then you could save the pulp for the next morning for your smoothie. So that's an example of day 1. And now you're going to see, as I go on to day 2 through 4, how we're going to step it up a notch, cut down on the fiber, go higher on the liquid. Jack's one of my favorite Zuki customers right there. Not paying any attention to me. He's just carrying on. So day 2, we're gonna same thing. Start out with the warm lemon water, the Chele. You're getting your system prepared. And again, if you want to have the yerba mate, if you get up in the morning and it's cold, you're having your warm lemon water. But if you feel like you need just like something else, have some herbal tea or something like that. That's totally fine. I've got the turmeric shots on there again, the spirulina smoothie. Now we're going to introduce green juice, okay? So when you're making a green juice, again, let me be clear about the difference between a smoothie and juice. Juice doesn't have any fiber. And the reason is when you begin to consume it, it's absorbing through your gums. It's going straight into your system, so the nutrients know exactly what to do and where your body needs it. You do not have to break down the fibers, so you're giving your digestive system a break. So green juicing, cleansing, is fabulous. And that's what I believe it definitely works. If somebody wants to do only a green juice cleanse, come talk to me. I can guide you through it. I've done it for, I think, my whole life, it feels like. But I used to teach in oncology clinics, holistic oncology clinics, of course. And we put everybody on juice cleanses the minute they walked in the door. These were serious people that had, been sent home to die, of course. So it was rather critical that we got started. But I've created this plan of an easier approach from all the things I've learned through the years to be more gradual. And hopefully nobody's in that situation where it's life or death, today. So as far as the green juice recipe goes, you need a juicer. And I did bring some brochures to show people if you're interested. And the one that I have always used and recommended, the Green Star juicer, it is a gear press. When you use a centrifugal juicer, it spins the vegetables. So it doesn't benefit you to buy organic, healthy vegetables right cut from the farm and then heat them up in a centrifugal juicer. You have to press the juice out of them. So feel free to take one. I have lots of them if anybody wants some more. So greens that you can put in the juice. I also brought a recipe. Brandon, you can pass these around as an example. And you can alter this, and I'm happy to talk with you individually if you say, like, there's something on there that you absolutely hate, how we can shift it to your taste buds. You'll notice that I put green apples. They're less in sugar. If you don't feel like you need the apples at all, that's fine. Leave them out. But basically, you're going to get more liquid out of cucumbers and celery. You always want to include some of the dark leafy greens like a kale or a collard. I've got some beautiful fennel up here. And just so nobody makes the mistake that I once made with fennel, it is very, very potent. Do not put all of the bulb in there because it was about all I could do to drink it. I also, when I was very young, early 20s, I special ordered some dandelion greens from a produce place, and I just thought, oh my God, I can never drink that, right? But that was a very long time ago, so I've learned to cut back on the potent ones. There's some chard here, so from Ray's Ranch over there, that's really great in green juices. And you'll notice the recipe I gave you has cabbage in it too. There's so many wonderful quality, nutritious things about cabbage, so that's pretty much the base of that green juice recipe. So that's day 2 through 4 is when we have incorporated the green juice. Then for your dinner meal, as opposed to the first day when you had the salad for lunch, for the dinner meal, we have an entree salad. So same idea. It can be just simple. And you could put, if you want to switch it up, you could just do, some lemon. You could take the brine from any of these products and use this as salad dressing. I do it all the time. If you want to add raw honey to it, that's fine too. So another entree salad for day 2 through 4, just so you have a little bulk and your system is okay with this idea of transition and you're not getting hungry. And then for bedtime, again, the coconut water, the spirulina shot. So now we're moving on to day 5 through 7, and we're going to step it up another notch, and we're going to go a lot more with the green juice, and we're going to cut exclusively out of anything fiber so that your system is really, really resting. Same thing, start out the morning with the lemon water and the cayenne, the Chele. The next thing on the list says shaga broth. Some of you might have heard there's like quite a craze going on about broth. We've been making mineral broth in my world. Ann Wigmore was a very popular mentor in the living foods circles. She is the one that discovered wheatgrass was so beneficial for cancer patients. But she also made a mineral broth, and when I was in culinary school a long time ago, we used her recipe as a guide for broth. So it's all different minerals from, again, all these dark green leafy vegetables. We actually make the broth now as one of our packaged items, but we have added shaga mushroom to it because shaga mushrooms are off the chart with nutrition and healing and restoring. So, and this is a very warm, wonderful, it's a liquid, obviously. There's no pulp in it, there's no fiber in it, but it is so fulfilling because of all the minerals in it. You cannot possibly get hungry. It's really great. So that's the broth. And then I've got in notes there kvass or kefir each day, and that just means, again, to get something fermented, some probiotic in your system. Now it's probably a good time to tell you the difference between a probiotic supplement and me calling this probiotics, okay? First of all, probiotic means for life. Jackie, can you hand me that article there? I'm connected to the table. The Orange Review did a story on the product line, and they called it For Life. So we have a few of these. It was a few months ago, but if you want to take one to learn a little bit more about probiotics in our product line, Mike from the Orange paper here did that. So For Life is what probiotic means in the Greek root word. And we've got going on about probiotics in the supplement department, just so you understand the difference. Because people come to our booth all the time and say, oh yeah, I take probiotics. It's not the same thing. That is a scientist in a lab that is mimicking nature. And they've got strains, and they're trying to figure out what your system is low in. I don't know. I'm just saying. There's some really great products out there, and a lot of people get really great results. But you have to figure out which one works for you. And the only way to do that is to send off samples from your system to a lab and figure out which strain of bacteria you're low in, and then you seek out which strains or which bacteria are in those products. So if that works for you, that's great. But I have more and more people coming to me and saying they took all these different products, they were so crazy expensive, they couldn't really figure out if they helped, and then some people have told me that they felt worse. So the reason could be the way they manufactured it. Again, it's in a lab, they're trying to figure out what you need, and it's kind of hit or miss. In nature, every fruit and vegetable has the probiotics on it, and it's in its perfect form, it's whole. Now, you still have to figure out which one that you need, but if you eat a good variety, and that's what I really stress when people come to buy the products, because we have a ton of people that absolutely love the curtido. It's like, that's great that it tastes really good. It's versatile. You can put it on grilled fish. I hear people say they put it in their burrito or on this or on that, and they love it. I put it in omelets for my son before he goes to school in the morning. You get some baby spinach and the great eggs from the girls over here. Make an incredible omelet, put some curtido in it. It tastes great. But don't get that one every week, because even though it's got carrot, cabbage, red onion, lime, and oregano, and that's a variety, and they all have their own unique strains of bacteria in them, the brassica, which is the highest content of glutamine of any vegetable. I researched this because we get a lot of moms with autistic children that are working on their gut-brain connection, and purple cabbage is very high in that. So it's going to have totally different strains in it than the curtido. And by the way, I discovered we sponsored the Western Price conference not too long ago, and I only eat vegetables, so I didn't know what I was going to have on the buffet. But brassica is fabulous with mashed potatoes. So that was my thing. But they're all good with different things, and you just have to play around with it and discover which ones you like, but they all have a different purpose too. Okay? So I I was telling you about the reason for having the kvass and the kefir and the probiotics, and then so on day 5 through 7, we've got after the broth, I've got the green juice, and then again the coconut water. So that's pretty much the end of the cycle that I've typed out for you. So that's a 7-day. Now, when you're on that 7th day, if you want to carry on, you can have as much of that broth and that juice, the green juice, as you want, and you could keep duplicating day 5 through 7. The longest I've ever done a cleanse was 42 days, and it was total green juice. I didn't do the days with the salad because I've done it so many times. I know how to do it. It's totally possible. David Rainachek, who's juicefeasting.com, he's a great friend of mine. He lives up north from us. He takes people through 90-day juice cleanses all the time. If you want to do a supplement in addition to your cleanse, I highly recommend Arise and Shine. It's a product line that has a great psyllium powder product, and you can incorporate the same things that I told you. But the broth and the green juice, you can do it day after day after day until you decide that you're ready to be done with it. So the things to incorporate along with the food part, I would highly encourage in the category of exercise. Rebounding is the absolutely best because the lymphatic system, if you compare to your blood, which has the heart to pump it, the lymphatic system does not have anything to move it. So if you move it, and being vertical beings, jumping straight up and down on a rebounder totally moves your lymphatic flow. So that would be the exercise. That it's gentle enough, when you're cleansing, that it would be great. The next thing is saunas. Saunas are an excellent way to detoxify and get out of your system because it's coming out through your skin. Massage is excellent because it releases the toxins in the muscles and the tissues, and with you flushing out with all of the green juices, you're going to eliminate. Salt baths, again, the Himalayan salt crystals. 103 degrees for 30 minutes with Himalayan salt crystals, you will get a headache and you will feel weak, but the next morning you will feel fabulous. And then the last thing I put on there is the feast part, which we've just pretty much gone over all the great ideas, but the main thing to remember is as much broth and as much green juice as you care to consume. So that's my version of a gentler approach, gradual, and then how to stick with it. So after you finish that, whether it was 7 days or 14 days, 28 days, however long you want to go on it, I always encourage people to do 7-day cycles. But then to go back to the very beginning where we had day 1. Day 1 could literally be how you eat forever. Living foods, fresh from the farmer's market, quality nutrients and ingredients, and then you're in the prevention mode, which is a much better place to be than afterwards and trying to fix it. So, do we have some more samples? We have weeds. Was that on the choice before? Okay, so our weeds product. Did anybody try this one, or did you know what you were trying? So the all white one, which was the rye kraut, which I said was our original first thing, is lemon, garlic, and caraway, and that's the original way in Europe that they always made kraut, was with the caraway seed. If anybody thinks they like rye bread or rye crackers, it's really caraway seed that you like because that's the flavor where it comes from. So that was the all whitish one. This one is one of our newer products that we call weeds because it's very detoxifying. The nutrients in dandelion greens is huge. We'd love to have some of these products tested, so we're working on that with a nutritional scientist because Dr. Mercola, if you're not familiar with who he has the largest online newsletter and really great information all the time, but he has actually tested this, and the vitamin C alone is 10 times, as if you were to just take the cabbage and shred it and put salt on it. So the process that we use in our fermentation is the old-fashioned way, is how I describe it, because we use fermentation crocks. So it's no light and no air. So if anybody wants to ferment on their own and they come up and they ask me questions, how I can get them, I'm happy to share information with you. But if you're doing it in a glass jar, it's not going to taste the same. And that's what we hear all the time. Mine doesn't taste like yours. Well, first of all, I've been doing it for 40-something years. But the crocks is the secret. So you have to have the fermentation crock that has the water reservoir. So that's why we created the weeds, was just to kind of see how we can help people more with detoxifying. So it's collards, which are the big fat dark greens, dandelion greens. It's got hemp seed in it. It's also got seaweed, dulse seaweed. Okay, so this is very, very good idea for the detoxifying time. Is the weeds. So we have more. We have plenty of samples if anybody wants more of it, or if you want to just ask questions. And we also have. Hey Jackie, will you take a break from that for a minute and come pass out the kvass? And I will get you. I will get you the copies of the outline, and then if anybody wants to ask questions, just as a group, you might think of something that I didn't think of. Oh yeah, you want to go around to the other side, and so this is the kvass drink, and I'll tell you what that is. Do we have our beet product up here? Oh yeah, right there. You probably know that in Russia and Romania, beets are very popular. They make a lot of soups and all kinds of things out of it. We had a customer here. His name's Bogdan. I haven't seen him for a while, but his grandpa made the fermented foods in the basement of the monastery in Romania. I thought that was so great, and he loved our beet product. But the kvass is a second generation from the beet product. So what we do, the beets have turmeric and orange zest and mesquite in them, and then we take the brine from the beets and we re-ferment with stevia leaves, which we get from Jack all the time. I'm texting him, bring me another stevia leaves, the potting shed. They have all these potted plants in the display here are from them. They have all kinds of vegetable plants and everything. So we take the stevia leaves and we just infuse it. We put it in the product, but we don't use powdered products or any of the drops or anything like that. We use the whole leaves. So that's what you're trying there. That's the kvass, and that's what is on your list on the menu as far as either kefir or kvass. So kefir is a beverage that is made with bacteria. They look like little jelly grains. And the difference between kombucha and kvass, I'll tell you that because a lot of people don't understand the difference. We have a new vendor today that has kombucha, and I tried the ginger one. It's really great. Kombucha is a SCOBY, which is a symbiotic colony of yeast, bacteria, and fungi combination, okay? And it's a big jelly-looking, kind of funky-looking thing. Kefir, which is what we use, is only the little jelly-like, they look like large salt granules or something, but they're jelly-like. The story is that they actually came out of the ponds at high elevations. Farmers would take their animals up to these high elevations to drink from the ponds because of this special bacteria, and that kept their animals healthy. Well, back then, that was everything, having your farm animals healthy, right? So those are the kefir grains. It's not really a grain at all, but that's what multiplies in the process and creates the good bacteria that simulates the bacteria in your gut. And we are actually 90% bacterial cells, 10%. So all the great attributes that you got from your parents as humans is really only 10%, the DNA. Bacteria is the majority, we as humans. So it's really, really important to feed the good bacteria. And that's what all this fresh live food does, because the cooked processed food feeds the bad bacteria. So, questions? Somebody? Come on. Anybody want to ask me about juicing or recipes or? Uh-huh. Oh, we have samples of that if you want to try it. I forgot. Yeah, ask me, what?
Does that help in the cleanse?
Yeah, well, I have that on the first few days because, again, it's more filling. And I don't want you to be hungry, because that's when people give up. They think like, oh, I just can't do this. But again, if you get in tune with your system and you try to ask, why am I hungry? Okay? It's really about what nutrient is my body asking for, right? So, Jackie, would you mind? So that's what I do. Instead of saying, oh gosh, I'm starving, what sounds good? What friend do I want to call? What restaurant do I want to go to? change your words. What is my body asking for? Because it's all about nutrients. It's a message. You want to make some more? Yeah.
So the other thing is I buy the water by the case. Is that already overprocessed? It's not helpful because I also buy the whole milk.
You buy the coconut water, not the coconuts themselves.
I buy both.
Yeah, so, it's always going to be better. I don't know how many want them, so just, you can ask or take them around. It's always better to get the actual coconut and crack it, but I know it's not particularly fun to crack them and it's kind of messy, but then you get to eat the meat for the next day for your smoothie.
Well, I have to learn both.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay.
Do you ferment cilantro?
We have fermented cilantro in the ginger product. And I think I forgot to mention that, but it is on your sheet. In the green juice recipe, we have the fermented ginger. Ginger is essential for detoxifying, and that's why we put the cilantro in with the ginger. Yeah.
You do that as a separate item, or you do
Yeah.
it all together?
See that one right there?
Yeah.
That little guy, that's ginger and cilantro.
Oh, it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's the only product that we have that has cilantro in it.
Little container?
Uh-huh. So the original reason that I did that product was for the very reason that people could have the convenience of ginger right there ready to put in their green smoothie, because everybody doesn't always have, a knob of ginger and then they got to peel it and it takes more time. So your day, it's just different.
I just wanted some literature.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I think that's enough samples. Cool. Well, thanks. Yeah. The jars? Well, that's really interesting. They pretty much last forever, but we don't really know what forever is. They're live, so they do get softer. And that is how I discovered that the carrots actually make a great soup, because I had a jar in the refrigerator, and I really don't know how long it was. But when I went to eat them, and I like that product, so I like to eat them just by themselves, I noticed the texture had changed, and I'm like, wow, this is interesting. But the key to fermented food is always to smell things, and if it doesn't smell funky, then it's still good. It's okay. Even if it gets like white stuff on top of it, it's kind of like the concept of cheese. If you've ever been dying for some yummy cheese, and you look in your refrigerator and it's got green stuff on it, you might choose to scrape it off and go ahead and eat it, or you might not. It just depends on you and how you are about that. But we have taken white stuff off of lots of it and tested it, and it's totally fine. But we put 6-month stickers on the bottom of it, just because, and I always tell people that it could get softer. You want to refrigerate it because it is live and you want to keep the texture. But my mom actually tested a jar on her husband. How nice was that? After 3 years. It was kind of a joke, but he was willing. She was going to throw it away, and he was like, I'll try it. And he said it was really good. So that's the longest one that we know of. Yeah. Well, that's why we have the spirulina, and actually it's not a powder, and I think that I know of, this is the first one. There's a farmer that we've connected with in North San Diego County. He contacted me about creating a product line for him, and it's fresh, live spirulina. So everybody that knows spirulina, they know it as a powder, as a superfood. Even myself, I was like, oh God, because the superfood world is huge in the raw living foods world. And spirulina powders are pretty potent. They don't taste so great, but if you tasted that spirulina drink, that was pretty yummy, right? Yeah. So I've been eating it as an experiment ever since I met him. It's been more than a month now, maybe 2 months. I've been eating a tablespoon every day just for the heck of it, because his assistant at the farm, who was not knowledgeable at all, he's just, he's a farmer, but he started working with him, and his doctor took him off of Lipitor because he was eating this stuff every day. And we're like, whoa, that's pretty major. Yeah, I can tell that story, but he's living it. This is an older guy, and he's had high cholesterol and been on, medications and stuff. It's potent, and it's a lot easier to eat as live. So we've been making making products out of it, just kind of testing and experimenting, and we'll see what comes of it with him. But we've been having something spirulina in our booth like every week because I just, being bacteria, it just makes sense to incorporate it with what we're already doing because it's nourishment. Yeah. So I did have, I was going to show you this for the people that, when you're making the smoothies, if you do want to add a protein powder, the one that I recommend, and I don't have extras of these to pass around, but it's called Growing Naturals. I know the guys personally, they've been formulators in the raw food world for a long time, and they're somewhat local. Their distribution center is in Irvine, so you can get it like in a day. It's not in any of the stores around here, and the reason is because a lot of the protein powders that became popular quickly already got the space on the shelves. I mean, that's really the bottom line. On the East Coast, this is in all the natural food stores. But you can either, ask me. We order cases, and we always sell it to customers. If you don't want to just order it online, but it's called Growing Naturals, and it's fermented rice powder protein. They also have a pea protein, which a lot of men like better because there's something about the nutrients in the pea protein that is for muscle growth. So that's so that's my answer to the. If you want to add more protein, but if you're adding the spirulina, you're getting plenty of protein. Yeah. So.
The little drink that we sampled. Do you have
Could split that up and have a couple sips here and there, and whatever. But I mean, it tastes so yummy; it's easy to drink. So,
what was the something natural?
Growing Naturals. Yeah. Growing Naturals. Yeah. Good. Well, thank you guys for coming and listening and all that. And if you want assistance, personalized one-on-one coaching, we do that, and we have a variety of programs, and you can come talk to me about it, and I can email you price structures and that. Thank you.